I'm Eliza McEwen, and you're listening to Generation Transformation, a podcast series exploring how COVID-19 is changing the way three generations live their lives. In this episode, I'll cover the way Generation Z is building resilience in the face of catastrophe. Research is beginning to highlight the mental health struggles of a group now dubbed the most stressed generation. Coming of age during a global pandemic has had a big impact on Gen Z. Born between 1995 and 2009, they're either in high school, post-school education, or the early years of their careers. This year, a national survey by the American Psychological Association found Gen Z had the highest average stress level compared to any other demographic. While a 2020 survey by McCrindle Research revealed 1 in 4 Australians aged 18 to 25 believe the biggest negative impact of COVID-19 has been on their mental health, a higher proportion than any other generation. Bianca Dullins is one Gen Zer in her early 20s, navigating the most pivotal years of her life during the pandemic.
I think if this goes on for much longer, it's really going to affect a lot of people's mental health permanently as well. Like, it's not just going to be temporary. I think it's just going to get much worse than it is now.
She lost her job after the first Perth lockdown and has only recently gained employment after a year-long search. In addition to this, Bianca had to deal with the stress of her stepfather's absence. After a 6-week overseas visit to his mother on compassionate grounds became a 3-month effort to return home. She says the uncertainty of her future is having a massive impact on her mental well-being.
It's stunted my ability to get savings, to feel like it's an option to actually move out of home and be financially stable, because you just don't know what's going to happen. Any second you could lose your job. There's just no guarantee that I'd be able to actually go out on my own and not have to run home.
Social researcher Claire Madden says Gen Z are dealing with the shock of missed opportunities like global travel.
It feels a little like they've had their wings clipped. Travelling and exploring the world has been like a rite of passage for them.
She says dealing with a significant event in their formative years will likely have a run-on effect and will inspire them to build resilience and gratitude.
This is a defining moment for our Gen Zs because just so much is pushing up against them, so much has changed and is challenging, and so it's definitely an opportunity for them to find resilience and rise above that.
Emmett Padman was in Canada on a working visa when borders across the globe started shutting down. He says while the pandemic stole his plans to travel Canada, the US and Europe, he sees no point in being angry. Instead, he believes the mental challenges he and fellow Gen Zers are facing will toughen them up for the future.
Honestly, this pandemic is a fantastic way of preparing our generation for the challenges we'll have to overcome in the future. Global warming, equality and basic human rights are all things that currently need to change in our society.
University of Western Australia senior psychology lecturer and clinical psychologist Lisa Salzman says resilience doesn't mean you're unfazed by COVID. Instead, it's things like prioritising pleasure, relaxation, exercise, achievement, maintaining a normal routine, and reaching out for connection that make up resilience.
The behaviour that will often naturally follow when we feel depressed is to isolate ourselves, to withdraw from things, to perhaps not be as active as we normally are in our life, to sort of pull away from life and disengage a bit. And we know that very withdrawal and isolating behaviour actually keeps the depression going. It actually maintains the depression and often worsens the depression.
She says it makes sense many young people are experiencing an increase in psychological distress, but it's important they know it's not a failing on their part.
I think the more that we can look after ourselves and look after each other, hopefully we get through this together, get through the other side and get back to taking up all the opportunities that life usually has for us.
Mission Australia Area Manager for Youth Services, Andrea Reynolds, says the government is responding well to the mental health needs of young people. In August, the McGowan Labor government announced an investment of $129.9 million towards youth mental health services and initiatives, a key focus of this year's state budget.
I was really happy to see Mark McGowan announce all that money that he is investing into young people with mental health. I think that's fantastic for WA, and I'm really excited to see what that's going to look moving forward.
As the pandemic continues to bring to light the mental health struggles of Gen Z, She says we should listen to their voices when looking to support them.
It's such a privilege to work with this generation and work with these young people who are so articulate and smart that understand what they want and what they need and what they require.
Social researcher Claire Madden says she sees immense potential in Generation Z and hopes they will emerge from the pandemic as pioneers in finding the balance between life and mental well-being. She says this situation has caused Gen Z to really reflect and ask perhaps the most important question.
What really matters in life and what do I want to build in my life from here? Whereas I think prior to this, we were going at such a speed in our society and it was so fast moving that people weren't stopping to reflect on that bigger question of what really matters in life.